didn't inform Kurt what speech I was going to give. It would be out of the communication, advanced communication and leadership manual, and it's an entertaining speech. And the title of the speech is Toastmasters. What it has done for me, Toastmasters has saved my soul and recently has saved my life. Fellow Toastmasters, as many of you know, I'm one of these foreigners. I immigrated from Germany in 1961. I was 18 years old. I did not speak any English. I had to learn English the hard way, or maybe the easy way. It really is almost easier than going to school when they just put you in the water. You either sink or you swim. Obviously, I didn't sink. Well, there are many interesting stories I have about learning the language. But I'm going to tell you a different story about how my life continued on. I started out in Fort Dodge, Iowa. Then I moved to San Antonio, Texas. By that time I was 21 or 22. And for once I met a young gentleman, tall, a little bit like Kurt, handsome, I thought, and very nice. And we got married. He was very nice. But there's a sad story to that. After a while, he became very abusive. He was abused as a child, severely abused, and consequently, he became abusive. And it got worse and worse. It doesn't start like that. So little by little, you adjust to that. My brain said, something is wrong, because I was fortunate to have very kind parents, even though they're German. They were, I'd say, the gentle Germans. I was always encouraged. If I made a mistake, it was all right. I never had to be afraid to go home. And then we had a little boy, and my husband began to abuse him from little on. And it got worse. At the age, I believe when Carl was 8, I decided something had to end. So we ended the marriage. The divorce, I don't think there is a good divorce. I don't even like that word. I usually say unmarried. And it went extremely lopsided. In the meantime, I had moved onto a farm in Chatfield that my father had purchased. We had bought some cows. I had to buy my own cows back, and financially I was stripped down to nothing. I was milking cows. I used to be a dairy farmer, if anybody can believe that. That's why I'm in debt. I'd be milking my cows, and I'd be shedding a lot of tears, and I thought, what went wrong? I can't change the past, but I'm going to try to make sure that it will never happen again. What went wrong was I didn't speak up. I was shy. I was demoralized. You're a dumb woman, don't say anything, be quiet. That had to change. How do I change it? I thought, a psychiatrist, psychologist. First of all, I didn't have enough money to go one. Secondly, I didn't think they would fill the bill. College, I didn't have the prerequisite to go to college. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the time to go to college. And while I was milking cows, I always had the radio on. And on the radio, it said, overcome the fear of speaking, join Toastmasters. That's what I need. What in the heck is it? They gave a number. I was milking. I didn't have a pen. I didn't have a paper. 2 years, I asked about Toastmasters. And they gave me some horror stories only for men, which used to be for men only. And that was real difficult. You go in, they give you a hand paper, you have to talk about it. And after 2 years, a friend of mine that worked at the Mayo Clinic called me up and said, you wanted to know about Toastmasters. There's a number here. And I wrote that number down. I called the lady up. At the moment, the name won't come to me. I invited her once to Toastmaster to thank her. I don't know if you were there, Jackie, when I did that. I wrote the number down. I called them up. This was 28 years ago, 29 years ago. And I said, what are the prerequisites to come to a Toastmasters meeting? Not any, you just come and visit. We'd be glad to have you. It was High Noon Toastmasters. And they met at the Episcopalian Church. At that time, they had only 4 clubs in Rochester. The first meeting I went to, I was a nervous wreck. And I thought, what the heck? But they were so kind and so friendly. And they said to me, you can make a comment if you feel comfortable. If not, that's okay. You just come and sit. And I didn't make any comment. I went back because I wanted to overcome the fear of speaking. So then we had the icebreaker. And I kept dodging. They said, are you ready for your icebreaker? I said, maybe next week, maybe next week, maybe next week. And they let me. They let me take my time. I think it was 6 or 7 months before I gave my first speech. And I practiced it in the barn. I had a clipboard in the barn. I kept writing everything down. Everything smelled like barn, too. And I have learned that Toastmasters helps me control my mind. Instead of thinking the past, feeling sorry for myself, I would think about the speech. Psychiatrists would have done that for me. I did it on my own because of Toastmasters. The first speech I gave, I was so nervous. I shook. I stood behind there, of course. I shook. Then my fingers tingled, my legs, and then everything was numbed. I kid you not. I thought I wouldn't be able to walk away. I had notes. They were in my hand. They were all crumbled. I never looked at them. That's why I learned to speak without notes, because I'm too nervous to look at them anyway. So why have them? That was my first speech. Then it kept going on, and they applauded, and it made me feel like I was somebody. Then as I progressed in the club, that particular year, they exchanged club, and they went to Pine Island. I went to Pine Island, and Pine Island brought a speaker to us, so we get used to speaking to other people other than our group. So they meet at 7 o'clock. I had to milk cows first. I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning, milked my cows, fed my calves, drove to Pine Island, was a little bit late. The speech was The Dumb Farmer, and I had a stack of magazines. They all fell off. Things didn't go exactly the way I had planned. They applauded me. They gave me an evaluation that made me feel 10 feet tall. On the way home to Chatfield, I drove, I don't know how fast, but I felt my wheels were not even touching the ground. It's an unbelievable feeling. And that's what Toastmasters has done to me. Now, the price. Let me ask you, how much is it to join Toastmasters for 6 months?
$27.
$35. Say if I would have gone to a psychiatrist, you know how much it would cost? $100 for an hour. And would they have helped me that much? I would not have a chance to stand here and just get used to being in front of people. College? I have no idea how much college costs.
Too much.
But I'm sure it's more than $36. So just imagine, Toastmasters has brought back my self-esteem, my self-image. And now the final note on Toastmasters, what happened not too long ago, 6 months or so ago, I had a stroke right in the middle of a speech contest. And there were Toastmasters here, and 2 of them are here. And one of the Toastmasters was last night in Pine Island, and I didn't even realize. She caught me. I was in the middle of a speech, and things were going a little haywire with my body, and I guess I fell backwards, and she caught me to keep me from hitting my head. Jessica and Jeremy, she was with me to the emergency room, talked for me because I couldn't talk. So they have literally saved my life. If they would not have been there, seconds matter when you have a stroke. And look at me. I can walk, I can talk, I can do everything. So they not only have saved my soul, they have saved my life. Mr. Toastmaster.